Well, hello, lovely humans, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited. You guys responded so well to the announcement last week, and if you missed it, I do highly recommend that you stop watching this video entirely and go look up the big reveal, the huge news. The master plan is finally here. But in a nutshell, I basically created an online course where I could be your wedding planner and take you from point A to wedding day. Quick recap, it is $199 for 6-month access or $299 for 12-month access. And at the end of that video, I offered for the first 100 people who purchased it, I would stick y'all on a group call where we could answer your questions specifically. We could sit down and talk about the burning questions that I know that you guys have, me, with you. And I just think that it could be such a powerful resource for you guys. And I'm happy to report that we actually have a little bit of room left on that. We have not sold our first 100 yet. So if you are on the fence about it, I do recommend jumping on in and making that purchase so we can get you on that call. Now, obviously, I've got a lot of subs that are not US based, and quite a few of them were asking, will this apply to me? Will this work because I'm in Australia or I'm in the UK or wherever you happen to be? And my response has been, and probably will continue to be, if you find this channel helpful, you're going to find this course way more helpful. Hands down. So stinking helpful. With that in mind, if you are slightly concerned about it, know that there is a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you buy it and it doesn't work for you, or you buy it and you're like, this doesn't quite apply to my culture or kind of like how we organize things, and so this is not going to work for me, then know that you have that 30-day money-back guarantee to hopefully kind of assuage some of your concerns and help you dive right on into having me as your online wedding planner. There's documents and PDFs and like organization to get you from point A to wedding day. I have got to stop using that line. So if you haven't done so already, if you haven't purchased the course, there is still room for the first 100 to get on one of those group calls. No, it's not going to be 100 people at once. That would be a little too much for me. We're probably going to have a couple of them scheduled. And if you've already purchased the course, you'll be receiving an email relatively soon with a couple of dates that we can get that set up, and I can hang out with you guys. Just talk, hang out, do wedding-y stuff. Also, if you're watching this at a later time, please know that the course is still available. Even if you missed the first 100, I'm not taking this course away. It's always going to be here. So even if it's 6 months from the day that I recorded this, you still need the course, okay? Go to themasterplanwed.com to get your seat in the master plan, or you can go down to the description box below and click on the link that I have provided there for you guys. Another thing that I want to address really early on in this video is for those of you who are subscribers of Mikkel Jancy Smith, her and I are actually going to be hosting like a meet and greet get together in the LA area. I think we're probably going to end up doing it near Pasadena on September 14th of this year. So be on the lookout for that. We're gonna have the time and location available relatively soon. We just basically need to figure out how many people are coming so we know what kind of space we're gonna get. Okay, wow, longest intro ever. Cheapers, Jamie. So for today's video, I wanted to go over some of the most common regrets that I see couples experience once their wedding day is said and done. Now, as I do with all of these, don't let it freak you out, but let it guide you a little bit into making decisions that better fit you and your future spouse. So without further ado, 12 of the most commonly regretted things at your wedding reception. Number 1, eat. Goodness gracious, please eat something. That's something that I always do with my clients is I run up to them after they receive their food. I'm like, hey, this is the only time you get to eat. Please eat your food because you will not make it through the next 5 hours of dancing if you don't have some sort of caloric intake in your body. So just eat food. If people come up and talk to you, just do your best to keep eating. And I know you get really excited, but if you hit 11 o'clock at night and you've barely eaten anything all day, you're not going to last as long at the party as you want to. Number 2, greet guests. I know that this is something that I personally did not do at my wedding, and I felt pretty bummed out about. I wish that we had taken the time to walk around and say hi to each and every single table, and that's just me. I love people. I love saying hi to them. I love spending time with them, and I know a lot of my couples experience that same sadness or frustration as well after their event is over, being like, man, we didn't get to say hi to them. We didn't get to say hi to that table. We didn't even see those people. So sometimes making room in your schedule to either have a receiving line, which is I actually have not experienced at an event, but I know a lot of people still do those, or taking the time during dinner to walk around to each and every table, say a quick hello, take a photo with everyone, just to really show face with each and every guest that showed up, can be really powerful both for your guests and for you to feel like you had face time with everyone there. Number 3, dancing. Now this is of course for the dancers out there, the people who actually want to be on the dance floor. Sometimes they do get really caught up in chatting with people and they're like, I just really want to go to dance, and then they're all bummed because they missed out on that opportunity. So if you are a dancing sort or you really want to spend some time on the dance floor, make sure your maid of honor or a member of your bridal party knows that you want to get your boogie on, because in case they see you caught in conversation, they can kind of reach up and snag you and be like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm just going to borrow her. I need her on the dance floor, whatever it happens to be. So you can get your tushy out there and shake it around a little bit because it's your wedding day and you've earned it. 4, pause and take it all in. A reception can go by so quickly that you feel like it's activity after activity after activity. I cannot say that quickly. And you just kind of feel like, oh my gosh, I mean, everyone says this. It goes by in a blink of an eye, and I'm gonna jump on that bandwagon, and I'm gonna use that cliche term because it really and truly does. So if you can really do your best to be conscious of just like maybe when you're sitting down eating dinner, look at your husband, look at your wife and be like, we're married and everybody's here. And just like look around the room and just soak it all in, because if you're so busy just shoving food into your mouth or running around to tables, sometimes you miss out on that one big overarching moment of just like, oh my gosh, this is happening. And I know a lot of couples will look back and regret not just taking the 20 seconds, 60 seconds, whatever it happens to be, just soak it all in. With that in mind, alone time. A lot of my couples are moving towards just carving out like 10, 15 minutes in their day to spend the time alone, because even if you're an extrovert, even if you just can't wait to be around people, even if you like all the action and all the activity, which I know there are a huge majority within you that you're like, actually, I'm kind of introverted, or people kind of drain me. Even the most extroverted or people persons enjoy carving out some alone time. And I do know what that feeling of like, it just goes by in the blink of an eye and you want to say hi to everybody. It can make you really, really weary at the end of the day. Along with pausing and taking it all in, maybe pause and like take in the fact that you guys just got married by yourselves. Go have a glass of champagne. Go eat some hors d'oeuvres in another room, just like away from humans for a minute, because you might need it. Number 6, paying ahead of time. When you are getting your boogie on the dance floor, or when you are talking with your guests and you've just looked forward to this moment for so long, and your photographer needs to leave and he or she comes up to you and says, hi, just want to follow up. I need the remainder of that payment right now. It pulls you away from your event. There's nothing wrong with a photographer doing that. They need to be paid what they're owed, of course. But if you can get that done ahead of time, then you just don't have to worry about it. I actually had one bride who owed me a certain amount, and I was done. Like our hours had ended. And I went up to her and I was like, hey, just need to get that payment before I leave. This is why we've completely changed our payment structure, because of this one moment. And she was like, oh, shoot, I left my checkbook at the hotel. But I didn't want to leave because it was a generous sum of money. And I was like, I'm not comfortable leaving just because we talked about this twice. I'm supposed to have the check in hand tonight. Then she had to send her husband to the hotel to get the checkbook, to bring it back, to write me a check, and it ended up being an additional 30 to 45 minutes of us just kind of waiting around so I could get that payment so we could leave. That's like a vendor insight on that one. But also it wasn't fun for them at the end of their reception when they're all ready to be done for the night, or maybe go to an after party, to have to go get their checkbook and then bring it to the venue and pay me. So just some food for thought. Try to get all those payments done ahead of time just so you don't have to worry about it. 7, transportation. I've had several couples be like, oh, well, since we're not hiring a limo service or a fancy rental car or anything like that, we'll just figure it out day of. And then they get to the hair and makeup and then realize they don't have a way to get from the place that they're getting ready to the ceremony, and then to the reception, and then to the hotel room for the night, or back to their Airbnb. And it can cause this last minute stress of just like, can somebody just drive me? Or I don't know where to put my bags, or I don't know what I'm doing. So even taking the time to be like, hey, yo, Marsha, you with the minivan, you can move a lot of people, right? Okay, cool. Can you take us from where we're getting ready to the ceremony, and then from the ceremony to the reception? And then we'll just get an Uber to go from the reception to the hotel room. Whatever it happens to be, iron that out ahead of time so it's not a huge stressor on your day of being like, can someone fit me in their car? Because like, I got a poofy ball gown and I take up a lot of space. And I also have 7 bridesmaids that have been sucking on champagne like they're supposed to, because we are enjoying ourselves. But now I need to figure out how we're getting from point A to point B, all of that. So have your transportation figured out ahead of time. Number 8. I had to sneak this one in there, but it's a regret of mine. It's a regret of many other people. Hiring a day of coordinator. It's a big cost. I'm aware of that. And with the course, I do everything in my power to get you ready and prepared for your wedding day so it isn't a stressor. But even in the master plan, I go as far to say you still need somebody in charge that is not you. Because then people are coming up to you with questions. Because then people are calling your cell phone in the morning while you're getting fake eyelashes put on, or your lipstick put on, or your hair pinned up, and you're like, can you just call anybody else? Like anyone. So even if you don't have the funds to hire a day of coordinator, a professional day of coordinator, assign that task to somebody. Give the vendor someone else's cell phone number. Make sure someone else is in charge of the timeline. Again, with the master plan, I do my best to get people as prepared as possible, but even in that course, even in like, I'm gonna be your online wedding planner course, I still say you need somebody day of. Hair and makeup. Having professional hair and makeup. Being photographed is different than normal everyday life. And that's something that in the wedding makeup look video that I did eons ago with Chelsea, the makeup artist, she really spoke about a lot. Basically, you have to add on a little bit extra makeup for your face to look normal. Like when I film these videos, I actually wear more intense makeup than I do in my daily life, simply because I know these studio lights are gonna wash out at least 10% of what I've got going on in my face. The same applies for hair. A good hairstylist and a good makeup artist will know what needs to happen to this region of your body for it to stay for 7, 8, 9, 10 hours. So if that feels like it could be a concern of yours, I definitely recommend looking into professional hair and makeup, because you will be photographed throughout the entirety of the day. I mean, if you don't care if your hair's falling out by 10 o'clock at night because your night's basically over, that's okay. But if that appearance is important to you, make sure this is not one of your regrets. Number 10, worrying too much. If I had a nickel for every time a couple said, I was so worried getting into this, and then everything just happened, and even the stuff that I was worried that would go wrong, some of it did go wrong, but we still had a great day. I want to encourage you to make sure that you're not so worried about all of these little details or big things that you miss out on your day. I mean, obviously, when I'm a coordinator, I do my best to alleviate as much of those concerns and worries as possible. But so many times people will say, oh, I worried and stressed so much that when I got to the day, I realized it didn't matter and I didn't need to stress about those things, or I even worried about it during my day of it, and it took me away from being present. Number 11, staying too long. And this sounds like a weird one. This happens more often than you would think. So many couples say, well, we wrote down the sparkler exits at 10 p.m., but it's 9:30 and we're exhausted and we just want to leave because the bride's been up since 6 in the morning getting her hair and makeup done and she is just toast. It's a long, emotional, and full day. So I do know that a lot of couples will regret staying too late in the evening because they feel like they had to, when all they really want to do is just go sleep or maybe go nap in a back room. I mean, you do you, boo, okay? But this happens very often at events where a lot of our couples will be like, yeah, I think we're gonna want to party till midnight, and then at 11:15 they're like, no, we don't want to, we're done, we're toast. Again, you know yourself way better than I do, but this definitely happens to be a pretty big regret for so many of my clients. Not all of them, but for a decent amount. And last but not least, number 12. Not being themselves. I've said it before, I'm gonna say it again. I always want you guys to pick what is best for your wedding day. So if the dance regret is not gonna apply to you, then you don't feel like you need to get on the dance floor. That's totally fine. That's not added pressure. Some brides regret picking a dress because it felt more traditional, or doing a bouquet or garter toss because they felt like they had to, when in actuality, the thought of like chucking a bouquet at a bunch of single ladies just doesn't really sit well with them. So my biggest encouragement to you, and one of the biggest regrets that I see with couples, is just not being themselves. And that is the encouragement that I want to leave you guys with for here moving forward. Don't regret not being yourself. Do you. Make sure that your wedding day is a reflection of who you are and who your spouse is and what you want this event to look like. Not what society says it should be, not what your parents say it should be, and not what you feel like Pinterest says it should be, or even some random rambling lady on the internet, okay? Like, make sure that at the end of the day, you're doing you. So that's all we have for today, folks. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you haven't done so already, like this video and subscribe to this channel for more tips and tricks for the modern day bride. Especially because we have a 50,000 subscriber giveaway coming up, including some earrings by this beautiful designer, Jade Oy. The founder is actually a subscriber, and she lovingly donated some earrings for our giveaway. So if you guys haven't done so already, subscribe, because it is coming up in those details. There's so much happening. I'll get you giveaway details soon, I promise. And be sure to go to last week's video to check out all the details of the master plan. Okay, I'm gonna stop rambling now. And until next week, bye guys. Hi, baby. You got a shirt. You wanna come say hi? I don't know why you don't have pants on. Why don't you have pants on? You say hi? Hi. No, don't touch. Oh, kids are fun.